Welcome to Bropostles, episode 2, the comedy advice show for Catholics who take their faith seriously but not themselves. I'm Ethan.
And I'm Patrick, and I'm sad.
Why?
Well, well, the Pope died.
Ah.
Yeah.
Yes. It is very sad that he died, but he was also
just
old.
after the rebrand, you know? It was so
that's
close.
true. Last week, it's like, we're the reason that Catholicism is back. It's like, now maybe we're the reason that the Pope died.
Now we're the reason the Pope. He listened to our show and was like, you know what? Actually, no. He listened to our show and he said, "Now I've done. Heard everything I need to.
It is finished."
That was cinema. That was the best podcast I've ever listened to. And so he died right as we finished our show.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, I need to go pray for that guy who had 5 girlfriends at once. He needs
a lot
help.
of people listen to this show while they're driving. One guy listens to the show driving around St. Peter's Square with the top down. And
now it's Cardinal Sarra. That's who's listening.
Now it's Cardinal Sarra.
Do you think Cardinal Sarra would listen to Mo Bamba?
I don't think he would appreciate the dulcet tones of Sheck Wes or whomever.
Have you seen liberal influencers reacting to Cardinal Sarra?
I haven't.
They like talk about his views and they're like, even though he's black, he's against gay marriage.
They just can't.
Like,
they can't comprehend politics divorced from race. They have no context for it whatsoever.
But he's black.
It's the same. It's like, you're Mexican and you voted for Trump. It's like, yeah, some of them did.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
Crazy story from a priest that I know who's from Africa, and he went on a mission to Jamaica and he was evangelizing the Rastafarians.
Oh, what a job. You just smoke weed all day, talk about God.
He showed up in his like traditional African garb, and they were like, "Oh, you're from the motherland.
Mm-hmm,
like, tell us,
mm-hmm,
you know."
Mm-hmm.
And then the next week he showed up dressed as a priest, and they like almost killed him. They almost like beat him up.
Wow.
And he left and came back, and they were like, you know, nice to him again. And he berated them. He was like, do you understand that everybody from my country is Catholic? You know nothing about the motherland. It's a cool story.
Beast.
It is a cool story. Yeah.
That's powerful.
I love that priest.
This is a comedy advice show. We have a lot of questions written in. The first question is about the popes. We're going to talk more about Pope Francis.
Yes, we're going to talk about the Pope.
If you want to submit a question, you can submit it at info@bropostles.com. And just one other small plug. I released a movie podcast this week for our patrons. The first of many. I love movies, in case you don't know this. I'm going to try to do one every week.
What's your favorite movie, Ethan?
Ocean's 11.
It's a good flick.
It's a really good movie. But who knows? Maybe I'll watch a bunch more, and maybe I'm going to have a new favorite movie, you know, down the road.
Maybe it'll be Thunderbolts asterisk.
I did the first. The first one is on the movie Warfare, which came out in theaters. I went to go see it with my brother-in-law over Easter weekend. It's 25 minutes, some reflections, some thoughts on, you know, the themes of the movie, the spiritual impact of the movie. I thought it was great. You get it on Patreon for $5 a month. And then all the future bonus podcasts for me $10 a month. But just a little plug before we get into
it.
Yes. And thank you to Verso Jobs for sponsoring this episode of Bropostles. Verso Jobs, the best hiring platform this side of the Mississippi, and also that side of the Mississippi.
On the other side too. Both sides. They play both sides at Verso Jobs. All right, first question. I've got a question. Is there anything lay people can do during the period of mourning for Pope Francis? I know the thing is pray for him and his soul, but are there any like prayers that are traditionally said that signify mourning? You knew the question. Did you look up any traditional prayers?
No, I was gonna make a joke.
Okay, that's better.
Yeah, you could go to Rome, and you could. This is probably in poor taste. I was gonna suggest that people go to Rome and shout "chicken jockey" from the outside of the basilica.
Come on, man. Come on, man. No.
But I didn't say it. So that was something I was going to say, but I haven't.
It was something that it was like a hypothetical that you could have said but didn't. And I'm proud of you.
But I didn't say it. Are there any prayers usually said or traditional things? People typically fast when it's not Easter season. That's kind of a big thing. Like if the Pope dies, you like fast. You have a season of fasting in between. But it's weird, right? Because it's Easter, so I'm just kind of like drinking and eating ice cream. But I make sure that I like kind of have a scowl while I do it.
You're like, I wish this wasn't delicious.
I feel bad about it instead of feeling really good about it.
I did go get ice cream with the boys, including our parochial vicar, Father Zach, who's soon to not be at our church anymore. Sad, but it's 2 years, so they got to move him. But we went on the boat with my friend's boat, and we boated up the Indian River Lagoon, and we went to a restaurant, docked the boat. Cool thing you could just do, drive a boat to a restaurant. And then we had some ice cream at this place that I thought we might be killed at. It was an ice cream shop, but it was like a hole in the wall ice cream shop. It was like a dive bar ice cream shop. It was next to a dive bar, and I was genuinely afraid. My wife is texting me. Stop this.
That's the whole story. Is you went and you got on a boat, you got ice cream, you were afraid because you racially profiled the people that were there, and then you came home and you were safe and sound. Is that what happened? Am I catching this?
Yes. Yeah.
Am I catching the wave?
My phone dinging is distracting me, but yes, that is what happened. No, not the racial profile. No, it's Florida. There's very few black people here, but no, it was because the ruffians over there at the dive bar were kind of they were making me nervous.
They were eyeing you up.
They were smoking in the parking lot, various leafs.
They watched you get off the boat in all graceful, like you come here off in toots. You know, it's been so long since any of them seen fresh meat that they were like ooh, look at the local boys coming up.
It was like
that's what they were thinking.
A dive ice cream bar. It was like the bar in SpongeBob, but also Weenie Hut Juniors. That's what it felt like. Because I went up and I was like, I would like chocolate chip cookie dough ice cream, please. And they gave it to me, and it was the most delicious ice cream I've ever had. I'd go back in a heartbeat.
So is there anything other than the period of mourning? Is there anything other than prayer and fasting that people can do?
And going to a dive bar ice cream shop. No, I don't think there's much else you can do. I think wild
there might be like a
speculation
mass. I was going to suggest that. There probably, this is one final serious suggestion. There might be a memorial mass or like memoriam mass that you can go to in your diocese. So check that out. I think creating a type of like a draft of all of the cardinals and then picking your favorite based on what you learned about him 3 days ago, and then just saying his name over and over and over and over again on the X platform.
I'm gonna do a bracket.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do a bracket. I'm gonna take the Cardinals and I'm gonna seed them, and we're gonna take the top 16.
This is what happened in 2013. Pope Francis was elected in March, and so people were making March Madness brackets. Yeah, I remember this in high school.
That's funny.
I hope that Cardinal Sarra does not win. I really hope he doesn't, because it will just be an insufferable experience for everybody who agrees with him but does not idolize him as like the one and only savior of the Catholic Church. I knew it was going to happen. As soon as he died, I was like, I'm going to have to read a bunch of junk about Cardinal Sarra today. I love Cardinal Sarra. I've been on the Cardinal Sarra wave since before everybody else. I read his book in like 2014. Like I remember this. I love this guy, right? There's podcasts. There's podcasts that you can go back and find of me talking about the power of silence and God or nothing. I think he's a great and holy man. So it's just, maybe it's kind of like I'm gatekeeping a little bit.
Yeah, you're like, you're not allowed to like Cardinal Sarra. You're not allowed to want him to be Pope, because I wanted him to be Pope back before Francis was elected. No, they're not going to pick Cardinal Sarra. He's too old. They're not going to pick a guy who's 79. Too old or too young. They're going to pick a guy who's 75 and is going to die in 15 years. And they're going to pick a guy who's not going to make a big stink. That's what they're going to, that's who they're going to.
I stand by the post that I made, which was, I saw everybody jonesing for Cardinal Sarra last time. and he didn't get elected, obviously. I think the same thing's going to happen now. There's going to be a few people. We got Pizza Ball, we got Sarra, we got Burke. Everybody's, has their favorite that they want to win. I think that it's going to be nobody that anybody's ever heard of, because that's exactly what happened last time.
Burke wouldn't even win the Americans.
No, he wouldn't.
The American Cardinals wouldn't even vote for him. That says more about the American Cardinals than it does about Cardinal Burke. But that's where you're at. It's like that. You have to recognize that's how these things work. Is like, people don't know Cardinal Burke that well. They're gonna go based on the people who know him well. Those people aren't gonna speak well of him. They're not supposed to do that, but
it's gonna be some little Italian guy who runs the dicastery for the communications to Southeast Asia. He's going to be
it's going to be that cardinal we talked to when
you think so?
Yeah.
The one that didn't know what a podcast was?
Yeah, it's going to be him. I'm going to be so blown away if it's that guy.
I honestly think, this is my hot take, I think it's bad and disturbing if a cardinal doesn't know what a podcast is, but I think it's based if a pope doesn't know what a podcast is.
Yes, yeah, that guy has to be the pope, because
if he becomes the pope, then he's absolved. Everything's cool from that point forward. Fine.
Yes, I do think it's crazy. I do think it's crazy that the Cardinals, they don't know what a podcast is. They don't really understand the internet. It's crazy because a lot of them they were ordained when they were 18 in the year 1900. And they live in Rome, and they've lived there forever in the Vatican, and they don't really go out much, and so they don't have they're not much understand.
They're not tuning in to anything. It is sad that Pope Francis is gone. I think I kind of had my different eras with him, where it's like you really like him at the beginning, and then it's like, what's going on? Why are there idols in the Vatican gardens? And then you kind of come back around. He called some people out, and you could see more of his heart the further that you went, and you could see that he really was trying, but maybe sometimes just said stuff, and I think that's fine. I think it's okay to have a guy that just says stuff. I think that's okay. Yeah.
Franciscan I do remember this when Francis got elected, and then 4 years later I was at Franciscan, and by that point the Amoris Laetitia came out, the Dubia thing happened.
Yeah. He never answered it.
Never answered it. I get it. I don't respond to my critics sometimes, but I'm also not the Pope. Died. I also would have died. But I remember when I first was visiting Franciscan versus when I was actually at the school, the attitude to Francis was like night and day. Like they were selling T-shirts in the bookstore with Pope Francis, like with a bunch of kids and a bunch of like the happy, multiracial children, and said, "Love like Francis." They were like canonizing the guy in 2014. If you remember that, like the whole Year of Mercy thing.
He was so Obama-core as a pope.
Yes, for real. It was someone said like Obama got his pope and now Trump's gonna get his pope, and I was like, that's dumb, but you are right. Obama did get his pope. That is correct.
Yeah, it's true. We're too far removed from military juntas in South America to have any influence over the Pope at this point. We were very active down there 50 years ago. And so it's reasonable that there could have been some American maneuvering, but now it's like, what are we doing? All of our energy is tied up in what's Jerome Powell doing today,
Sure.
I don't know. I don't read the news.
Anyway,
pray for the Pope. Be kind. I think it's okay. Don't let anybody tell you that you have to mourn a specific way or that you're not allowed to talk about things. I think you can just pray for the Pope with your family, with your friends. Pray for the church. Fast maybe during the conclave, I think would be cool. But don't worry about it too much, because it is...
Watch conclave during the conclave.
Watch conclave. I think watch the young Pope if you have a stomach for potentially blasphemous and scandalous scenes. I think overall it's a good show, but you might have to skip some things. But don't buy into all the political hype. Just kind of stay out. It's like everyone thinks they have an inside track. Everybody's got inside sources at the Vatican say. The inside sources at the Vatican, who knows who those people are, right?
Every friggin' news story is going to be Vatican official says this, and it's just some seminarian who has a
it's going to be a guy that sells hats inside the gates. It's a Vatican museum tour guide. Like, who knows?
Ridiculous. That's what it's going to be for.
Pray for the Pope. Pray for the new Pope. Pray for the church. That's all you really need to do.
They say the devil you know is better than the devil you don't. So
true.
Who knows if that's true? Second question for the pod, not the cast. How do we wait? This seems familiar.
No, this is new.
Okay. How do we square the fact that certain jobs simply aren't built to sustain Catholic family life with the fact that the world needs more lawyers, youth ministers, and doctors? I was shocked at how close the situation in a recent episode is to my own, so I made a Discord solely to ask a follow-up.
Look at that.
I am a guy. Mid-20s, single, dead-end job. Interested in both law and computer science. I don't know what to do with my life, but I know I can't stand still. My current plan is to live my life as if law school is 100% going to be my next step by preparing for the LSAT. If it sucks and I hate it, I can pivot. If I'm not feeling particularly discouraged, I just keep moving forward. Eventually, I imagine things will fall into place. I'm passionate about this new career path and feeling confident, but it's hard not to worry a bit at the same time. I think I'll be fine as far as tuition money is concerned, but there's a lot about the profession itself that does not seem conducive to married Catholic life. Not only would this set me back a couple of years on getting married and starting a family, but I've read most law jobs fresh out of school require long hours and typically don't pay all that much, which would make raising kids difficult. Thus, my question is, are we as Catholics more or less barred, from certain professions like these, not because of moral issues, but because of practical issues? What do you think, Ethan?
I think that you can be a good husband and father and a good and holy man in just about any job, barring the ones that you mentioned, like being an abortionist. Obviously that's being a contract killer for the United States government. What's the difference between the two? Love telling jokes. Yes. This is just funny because it implies like a certain, like nobody would accuse like a blue collar, hardworking guy who has to work 2 or 3 jobs to keep his family afloat of being a bad husband or a bad father, right?
Yeah.
For like working long hours. But like if it's a white collar job, like a lawyer, then all of a sudden there's like an issue with it. And so
if it's a job that makes a lot of money and has upward mobility, there's more of a perception
wrong.
that it's a selfish thing than it's a thing that you're doing for your family. Yeah.
So what is inherent? Like you got to take some step backwards. What are our fundamental assumptions? What is inherently wrong about working long hours? I think I work a lot. Like I get up early between 4 and 4:30 so I can work before my day job starts. I work all day from 7 to 4. I take like 30 minutes for lunch. And then I spend time with my family from 4 to bedtime, 7:30. And then I work at night from like 8 until 10. Some nights, other nights I spend time with my wife or, I record the podcast, do other things, but, and then maybe I work on the weekends sometimes. Is that too long? Am I like a bad husband? Am I a bad father for doing that? Because I'm in my mid to late 20s and I'm trying
Not for that.
That's true. So I think it's fine. Because there's an end in sight, right? You're not going to be in the junk for years and years and years. It's like for the first 2 or 3 years, maybe 4 years as like a paralegal and then as a low level associate, but it gets quote unquote easier the further up you go. And it just kind of depends on where you land. Cause I think at least in the legal side of things, if you work at a terrible law firm with terrible people, it's going to be miserable and everything's going to be hard no matter what.
All the way.
But if you're at a good like family practice and like the people there are maybe faithful people, it's going to be long hours, but it'll be different than like a completely secular, totally bottom line driven firm. So even within like the long hours, there's different ways to spend it that can make you better or worse at being a husband or being a father. But this is the last thing I'll say, and I'll kick it over to you. People put too many barriers between. Used to be you grew up and then you found like the nearest woman and then you married her, and then that was it, right? You go off to the factory, you're there for 14 hours, you come home 6 days a week. She barely saw you. You had 5 kids, and that was just life, right? It's just how it was. So I think this notion of we have to be able to have every evening together for hours so that we can watch our favorite shows, and all weekend together every weekend so that we can go out to the place to do the thing. I think all that is kind of bourgeois and made up for modern American extravagance, you know. What's the word for when you have too much? Excess. That's the word I was looking for. So I don't know. What do you think?
I cut out there a bit, so I didn't get that last part, but I think you're right. You
got the gist.
I'm frozen again. What's going on? All right, I'm back. Yeah, I think you're right. You're gonna have to do the long hours thing for a few years. You're gonna have to do the not seeing your family as much for a few years, and that's fine. I was talking to Phoebe about this because she ran into a friend who, you know, the expectation with most couples nowadays is that, like, you know, if the baby cries in the middle of the night, you know, sometimes the dad's gonna have to get up and take care of the kid. You're both sleep deprived together. So her friend's husband is a brain surgeon. He does brain surgery every day.
Oh.
He can't be sleep deprived.
Oh.
So they, like, when that's just his job. He is a brain surgeon. We need to have brain surgeons. And so in, like, logistically, that job has natural limitations. Okay, so do all of our brain surgeons need to be celibate? Maybe that's how we do it as a society. I don't know. I don't think so. It's just what they do is he does not sleep in the same room as his wife and his child because he needs to sleep the whole night. He needs to get a solid 8 hours. He needs to get up and go to work and not be drowsy while someone's head is open on the table. Right. So it's stuff like that. Is the legal field have those natural barriers that require you to not be as present or as, like, you know, in a modern engaged dad that's very, you know, progressive and helpful? No, there's not like natural limits there, but the legal field is competitive, and so at the bottom of the ladder there's a lot of weeding out that happens, and that's just a hazard of the job. And so if you want to do that, you have to go through it. You have to have that conversation, understanding ahead of time going into marriage that you are, you know, hey, we should have kids. That'd be great, but you have to understand that, you know, I'm not going to be home at, you know, 4:30 p.m. every night, and I'm not going to be able to wake up with the kids and make them breakfast, you know.
Yeah. The wealthiest person I know who owned his own business and grew it significantly over his time and sold it. I've asked him a few times, you know, like, how did you do it? And he's like, well, I got up every day and I went to mass at 6:30, and I would drive from mass to go to the office. I'd get to the office at like 7:30. I'd be there from 7:30 till 5:30 typically. And then I go home, I'd have dinner. I'd be with the kids till the kids went to bed. And then after the kids went to bed, I would work on the business until I went to bed. And then, you know, sometimes I had to work on Saturday. But I never missed any games. I never missed any concerts. I never missed any, you know, and he built a very, very large business, and he has a lot of money now. And I think it's and another aspect of this too, is when you're young, like right now, the reason that I'm working, you know, more and I'm trying to bust my butt to get ahead, a little bit ahead, is because this is the best time to do it, is when you are, it sounds like you're not married. So like when you're not married and when you have really young kids, it feels harder because of the sleep thing and the baby thing and everybody's getting adjusted, but it's actually the best time to work more and longer hours, because you don't want to, if you're in a dead end job now, you're going to have to get out eventually, which is going to just involve a lot of work, whether that's extra schooling or extra learning or building a business on the side, or you're going to have to do extra work outside of your 8 to 5 sometime. Right? So you can either do it now when you're not married and you don't have any kids, or you can do it 10 years from now when you have like a 7-year-old or an 8-year-old, and that gets just like way harder, right? Because the older the kids get, they get more needy, oddly enough, because they just have more going on. They need you to drive them places, and they want to, they really need to spend time with you. Whereas now it's like, I play with Peter as much as I can while he's awake, but it's okay that he spends all day with his mom because that's kind of what he needs right now. But like when Peter's 8 or 9,
he's gonna need his dad.
He needs me, right? So like I need to be ready in the next 5 or 6 years to be able to spend more time with him. I can't afford to be doing the pace that I'm doing now then. So I don't know. I think people put too many artificial limitations on themselves. You can have a great marriage and a great family and work a ton, and as long as it's not like you're using it to escape from your family.
Yes, that's the main problem that happens.
Yeah.
It's like it's like the Chesterton talks about when white collar work, the good old GK, when white collar work kind of first started.
When it first came out.
Yeah, when it first dropped. So the Industrial Revolution happened, and you had this managerial class, and then you have the managers of the managers, and so you have this white collar workforce starting. And he comments on, he's like, a lot of these guys just go into an office and just pantomime work, and then they go home. Mm-hmm. That becomes a problem. Like when you go, you just, as long as you're working, you're good. If you're pantomiming work, then you're in trouble.
Yeah.
So.
Anyway, it's a good question. It's a real thing to wrestle with. I also think it goes the other way. It's like he mentioned, we need to have youth ministers, and it's like, well, I think that has the opposite problem where it's like you're working long hours and there's no promise of more pay. And then you're just stuck, at making $40,000 a year for the rest of your life. That also has its issues because you can't have a family on $40K a year with more than yourself. Not anymore. So I think no matter what, if you're a man in America and you want to raise a family, you have to find something where you can excel. Tech, sales, building your own business, get as close as you can to the revenue generation of whatever industry that you're in and become really good at that part of it. Eventually AI is going to get rid of accounting. Sorry. Be prepared for that. Eventually AI is going to get rid of lawyers. Think about that. That's also scary. So
I object. Over.
That's going to be a long time though. You probably have a generator, like you could probably be a lawyer and you'll be fine. Your kids probably shouldn't be lawyers, I think.
Yeah. I think more people need to be podcasters because AI can't create podcasts.
Nobody can make what we make. Computers, stupid. We're smart.
I did see a really funny AI podcast between a baby and a dog. Did you see that?
Anytime I see a clearly fake AI podcast, I don't watch it because I think it's disrespectful to my craft.
You're like the artist when they see a meme that's Studio Ghibli. Anyway, I like when people bloviate about fun little AI memes like that. This AI is not creative. It can only imitate. Yes,
obviously. That's why it's fun.
Great observation.
Humans famously only create purely original things. They never reference back to things that have happened before. Especially in things like books and movies, like we always only make completely new stuff. We've never actually referenced something that happened before. So you're right. Sorry, that's my bad. Stupid idiot.
AI generated AI opinions. And now a word from our sponsor. Ethan, you've been fired a lot, right?
I mean, I guess you could start the ad that way. Yeah, sure. That's fine. Oh, Ethan, you're a complete utter failure multiple times.
You've been on the job hunt multiple times recently. You could
say that I know my way around the unemployment websites for the government.
And for the average person who's looking for a job, what is the unemployment websites and job boards like?
It is harsh and cold. It's a bus stop that doesn't have any buses coming to it, and you're just waiting. And there is a crackhead in the corner, and you don't make eye contact.
and you're just flipping through, you're just scrolling through this list of jobs, and all of them are like, remote sales jobs, and you're just like, what's going on? What do I do? And even if you find the perfect job description, you have no idea if the company is actually worth staying at. You go and you show up and you're there for 6 months and you hate it, but you can't leave, and you stay there for a year. You waste a year of your life and all that stuff. What if there was a way for you to be matched with a company based on company culture and your personality and your career fit? What if there was a way, if only someone would figure out how to do this? Ethan.
That's where VersoJobs comes in. VersoJobs.com. VersoJobs is the newest innovation in job searching history. They actually take companies, they onboard them. There's like a whole process for a company to be vetted. They go through this whole system to make sure that when they're looking for employees, that they know exactly what they're looking for, so that there's no time wasted on your end or on their end. Better for the companies, better for you. They've gamified it. They've made it so that you take little quizzes and you play little games that test your skills, test your knowledge, test your fit for companies, not just their roles and responsibilities, but for the culture, for the mission of the organization. Bypasses all of the 45 job applications you have to do in a day and all the screenings and the resumes and retyping your resume all of that is bypassed with VersoJobs. VersoJobs.com. It's the greatest place to go. And if you feel sad and if you feel alone and you feel unemployed, like I have many, many times, solve it.
I've had that.
Yeah. It's really more of an Ethan problem. You go to VersoJobs.com. And they'll set you up right. Thank you to VersoJobs for sponsoring this episode of Bropostles. Patrick, where should they go?
VersoJobs.com. Thank you, VersoJobs, for sponsoring this episode of the podcast.
Greatest sponsor.
Third question. Absolute, honestly, legends. Absolute legends.
I can't thank them enough for what they've done for us.
They're beautiful. Got us out of debt. All right, dating question for Bridget. They were going to break Ethan's kneecaps. It was me. I was going to break. Should I be flirting more?
Yes.
Yes, unless you're married, yes. You should not be flirting with more people if you're married. I am 25. I have not been asked out outside of the apps in years. Whenever I go out with someone on the apps, they express how relieved they are that I am normal. And they're surprised when they learn I haven't dated much. I'm active in my young adult group, including one which is almost just me and a few dudes. None of them have ever asked me out. My diocese is small, but there are a few Catholic men that I've been interested in. I think the problem may be that I don't know how to flirt or show interest. I've been told in the past by friends and guys I've dated that I'm not super emotive and I'm hard to read. I know how to flirt in response to someone else, but I have no idea how to initiate, and honestly, am embarrassed by the idea of it. I have, however, asked out a few guys in my young adult groups. I've gotten some yeses and some nos. That being said, they'd always seem shocked, like it's coming out of the blue, like they had no idea that I liked them. Advice? I'm not sure of the psychology behind this, but I'm much less scared to bluntly ask someone out than flirt, as I feel super awkward. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what to do if it's not reciprocated, etc. Is there anything wrong with me asking guys out of the blue, or should I flirt a little bit first?
I think you need to hire a guy who plays the saxophone to kind of follow you around so that anything you say kind of immediately adopts sort of a seductive tone.
Yeah, you got to do that.
I think that would be my first move. Second move, do you wear any scarves? Maybe like a feathery boa that you could kind of flip around while you speak?
And less scarf that if you remove it, your head falls off? You're not familiar with that short story?
What's the problem?
So there's a short story about a girl who wears a scarf, and
when she removes it, her head falls off.
Yeah, girl with
what a great short story.
Head falls off. The girl with the green ribbon. I
think you should read it to us.
It's from In a Dark, Dark Room and Other Scary Stories. From I Can Read Too. The green ribbon follows a girl named Jenny. She always wears a green ribbon around her neck. And she meets a boy named Alfred. She refuses to reveal to Alfred why she wears the ribbon, despite his pleading. Even when the two are married, she wears the ribbon every day. Jenny always says she's waiting for the right time. And she gets terribly sick. And then she tells him it's the right time. And slowly she unties the ribbon, causing her head to fall off. The ribbon had been holding Jenny's head to her neck. There you go. It's from In a Dark, Dark Room and Other Scary Stories.
Is it supposed to be scary? That's hilarious.
It's from a book that's called I Can Read, and it's level 2.
Yeah. So you haven't read it?
I did read it, actually. Yes, it's
so funny to like get mad, just like deathly sick, and be like, I know that the cancer is gonna take me soon, but instead of that, how about I die this way?
Yeah, right.
And you just decapitate yourself. No, I don't think you should do what Patrick suggested. Please don't take your head off. I'm trying to think. Could you don't want to be immodest in your dress. Have you considered? Here's a couple of ideas. You could touch a man's bicep when you're talking to him. You could
go like under the arm like that.
You could say, "Have you been working out?" Instant. It's so free.
That's you
so
gotta do
free.
that.
You've been working out, and then go in for the kind of the bicep grab, and then maybe like if you're feeling bold, a chest touch.
It's too
but
much.
You seem like not the type, so I'm actually not gonna recommend that for you. I'm gonna put that in the advanced tier.
She's got maybe a touch of the tip. She's like, "Have you been working out?" And she just smack. Bam.
You can also touch guys on their back. They like that too. I think just any way that you can touch them. Hear me how I'm saying.
I think
this.
you just might be a physical touch guy.
No, but I also think every guy kind of yearns for the feel of a woman in some way.
Sure. Yeah.
So I think
do you ever yearn, Jerry?
You ever yearn? If you can manufacture, give me a hug. This sounds weird saying it out loud, but like the more hugs you can get and the more bicep touches you can give, it's a big clue, right? That you're into somebody.
That you're interested.
This is not strangers. This is like guys that she likes. So I feel confident giving out this advice. You could laugh. I know you say you're not very emotive, but when they make jokes, you gotta laugh. You're so funny. I always feel like when I'm around you, I just laugh so much.
Oh my gosh, you're so stupid.
You're so stupid. Stop.
Stop. You're making me laugh.
How about this? I know it's about to be summer. I'm cold. Ooh. Bird. Does anyone have a jacket?
That's actually really problematic because it reinforces needy woman stereotypes, Ethan.
Women are needy.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you see
Any woman who's being honest with herself, is like, yeah, you're right.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know a single woman I've met who doesn't think that she's high maintenance. Even the ones that aren't high maintenance. Every woman that I know thinks she's high maintenance.
Yeah.
Except for the ones that don't, and you got to stay away from them because they're the most.
Yeah. The woman who's like, I'm low maintenance. I love hanging out with the dudes. Get away from her.
Get out
as soon as you possibly can.
Have you seen that guy sleepover versus girl sleepover one where the girl's like, she's got the bed prepared and she's like, oh my gosh, this is what we're gonna do and all this stuff, and I got these matching eye masks, and it's the guy sleepover, and it's a bunch of dudes that are like pulling various surfaces over themselves because no one has a blanket. One guy pulls TV over his body. One guy is like he got a bunch of aluminum foil out, and he's just that guy's the smartest. He gets it. Yeah.
What are some other ways that a girl could make her interest known?
I think those are easily.
Those
top
are pretty
10.
good ones. Yeah. Texting someone before hey, are you going to be there tonight? I can't wait to see you.
Something like that.
That's a big one.
Texting
you could kiss him on the mouth.
That's huge. Sometimes that works.
Sometimes that works.
We have given that advice before.
Yeah.
Just walk
up
and
read the room.
Just smack him on the mouth. Just give him a little.
Do you want to look him in the eyes and be like, do you want to get out of here?
That's slick. Apropos of nothing, I was thinking about this as I look at myself in that camera. We need a little bee, a little Bropostles.
We do. Oh, that'd be awesome to have a little Bropostle bee.
I got rid of the plate.
Right there.
I lost the plate.
I did too. I think I threw the plate away. So
I think you're supposed to put a sticker on the plate, but I lost the plate.
Billy for us.
What even is this back here?
I don't know what it is either.
It's not a plug or anything.
Like some kind. It looks like you put a SIM card in there. Something.
Yeah. We're little monkeys who have never used microphones before. So
when they talk about the monkeys that use a typewriter to write Shakespeare, that's us. We're
No,
the
Ethan,
monkeys that made it out the
You don't
hood.
get it. You don't get it. We are infinite monkeys in a room, and one of us wrote Shakespeare.
Yes.
One of us wrote Hamlet. All right.
Yeah, I think you're doing fine. You got the right heart. I think you just need a couple tactics. I think you just implement some of these tactics.
Yeah.
And I don't think this is a motivation problem. I think this is not declarative knowledge. This is procedural knowledge.
Opposite of my advice for women who don't want a guy to like them. Opposite advice: text him after 10 p.m.
Mm-hmm. Oh, hey, up right now?
As a high school youth minister, I had to give dating advice to young girls a lot, and basically what I would tell them is like, just don't talk to boys at all. But one of the main rules I would give the girls was, do not text a guy after 10 p.m. Don't respond to his text after 10 p.m. He's not texting you for any good reason. There's really no, he's lonely, you know. You let him be lonely by himself. But the opposite is true if you're a grown woman trying to get a guy to like you. He's tired. He is lonely. Text him. You know?
Yes.
There you go.
Take advantage of his circadian rhythms. You know?
Yeah, man. If you get in his REM cycle, baby.
I'm trying to think of any other like white hat methods here. Because there's certainly some black hat methods that you could utilize. Absolutely. And I don't want to suggest any of those.
Slip him a Mickey. That's fun.
That's a good idea. You could attend a funeral with him so that he has a shoulder to cry on.
Ooh. That's a black dress method.
That is a black dress method. Sometimes the women would wear a black.
They would wear black hats.
Black hat, Jackie Kennedy. I think you got it. Let us know. Go out into the wild, test these, and then bring back to us and let us know how it goes, because I'm actually really interested. Because there's no, for a guy, it's way harder to flirt as a guy. Can I just say this? As a girl, it's so free. You just laugh and you touch, and everyone's like,
That's fair.
But when you're a guy, it's like, how do I concoct like the right amount?
You do kind of gotta scheme a little to flirt as a guy.
You have to scheme. You got to be ready. You have to either be extremely charismatic and know how to adapt to situations on the fly and be a really good storyteller and like know how to make people laugh, or you have to be like kind of like I'm a serious, mysterious kind of.
Yeah, you gotta be
like that kind of guy.
You gotta. It's gotta be
like the type
thick.
of guy I went to college with. He would say things like, I was reading like the section of the Catechism on marriage this weekend, and it just really spoke to me. And it's like, screw you, dude. But it worked. He married a girl because of that.
That guy should be drawn and quartered, I think. Yeah.
He's a good guy. He's a good guy. I don't want to say anything bad about him.
Like that type of guy.
That guy. If you read the Catechism as a flex on women, you should be tarred and feathered.
Absolutely not. I was praying in the port.
Mm-hmm.
My friend doesn't know what's up. And God,
I was reading the Song of Songs. And I was just really praying through it. The erotic love that God has for us. Calm down, dude. Go take a cold shower, please, before you continue this conversation.
When I was in middle school, I used to throw some phrases into Google Translate and text girls in French.
No way.
Yeah.
What were some of the phrases?
I don't remember.
Fromage.
It was like petite from a little cheese. That was my move.
I had like a shotgun approach where it would just be nighttime and I would just text every girl on my phone. I'd be like, what's up? Just hoping for a bite. Just hoping for anything. You want to play 20 questions? What's your favorite band? Who do you like? Get 2 questions.
That's not a shotgun approach. That's like that's an improvised explosive.
No, I was like the Sunnis in Ramadi.
A tried and true one for me was the question. It's not 20 questions. It's the question game. It's the rule is that you just ask it's your turn to ask a question, and it's an ongoing game. So whoever's turn it is, like, you have to come up with a question, and the question cannot be "What about you?" You know, like you can't be like, I can't say like, "Oh, what's your favorite color?" You'd be like, "Oh, it's
You
blue.
were a
What about
rules
you?"
master even back in the day.
Yeah, but it was great. You just say like, "Oh, it's a game." It's basically just a conversation. But you have to come up with like weird questions, and like you can take it in any direction you want. You can kind of like you move a question a little bit more romantic if you want, make it a little more fun. You know, move it towards family stuff. Figure stuff out about them. The question game is great. You can do it over text. You can do it in person. It's fun. That's a good one if you're a fella. I don't know how it works for girls. Guys might not be as into it.
Did you ever send a girl a song and say, "This reminds me of you"?
I have done that. I did that to my wife recently.
Well,
I sent my wife
that's
a
cute
song.
and adorable. No, I did it. I did it when I was young.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I would set you would set your MySpace song to, like this is for you, girl. You're in my top 8. How old are you again?
How old am I? I'm
Not that
older
old.
than you. I'm not
Are you
that old.
MySpace old?
I was not a MySpace guy. I was a Facebook guy.
Yeah, same. I do remember. I am old enough to remember that being like a this versus that thing.
You poke someone.
You poke them.
You could poke them.
You could.
No, Snapchat kind of has taken the place of the poke, because you could just send a Snapchat of like your forehead and be like, "What's up?" And that's effectively what a poke is. But back in the day, you go to a girl's profile and you just like hover over that poke button and you'd be like, "Would this be annoying?
Do I do it? Do I do it?
Do I do it?"
Hey,
and then your friend would just
girl, wanna change our Facebook language to pirate to enhance our user experience and make things more fun?
Yeah.
Did you ever do that?
No, I never did that.
I did have my Facebook set to pirate for a long time. Anyway,
That's the least surprising thing you've ever told me about yourself.
I wonder what advertiser I wonder what meta ad notifications look like if you translate your Facebook to pirate.
I missed that like 2011 whimsy.
Yeah, man, things were so.
There was something kind of fun about it.
A mustache on a bacon. I feel bad for all those people that got the mustache tattoos on their finger.
I feel nothing for those people. They deserve what they've gotten.
They should have thought it through, in my opinion.
The coolest guy ever is a lay epic mustache bacon guy from 2011 who is now a MAGA far right Trumper. Coolest guy, probably.
Yeah.
Because he's seen it all. He's got some opinions. He's been through the whole spectrum.
He was really into Mumford & Sons.
Yeah.
And is still into Mumford & Sons, because that one guy from Mumford & Sons went all like anti-vax.
Is that true?
Yeah, there was a guy in Mumford & Sons who had to leave the band.
Honey, get the Mumford & Sons records back out.
There was a guy in Mumford & Sons who he read a book by Ali Alexander, who's like a QAnon Jason
fake
guy.
ass name. Oh, okay.
And I know, right? And he posted this. He was like, "Wow, I really liked this book," and it was, it made me think about a lot of things. And he got like lambasted on Twitter because they're like, "This guy's a Nazi," whatever. And he was like, "I'm so sorry, like I didn't know," and he issued an apology. And then a couple weeks later, he was like, "Hold on, I went back to this and I retract my apology. Actually, if this is gonna hurt the band, I'll just leave the band." Isn't that crazy?
I love that.
He was like, his manager's like, "You have to apologize." He's like, "All right, cool." And he's like, "Actually, no, I don't want to do that. I'm gonna leave the band instead."
I love a man that stands by his principles.
You gotta love it. All right, last question.
Yep.
Hey y'all, I've been a patron for a while, but just now joining the Discord. Question for the pod about careers and aspirations. I'm a resident physician who did not match in the specialty I wanted. The way the U.S. medical system works is you apply for residency in different specialties as a fourth-year medical student, and then a Nobel Prize-winning algorithm sorts everyone's rank list, and that's crazy, in the residency programs, and after interviewing and matches you to a program. I did not match, so I was able to find an unfilled spot in family medicine. The specialty I initially wanted to do has an income potential of 2 times family medicine on average. I struggle because while I like being a family doctor and X is 100% adequate, and that amount of money is 100% adequate money to support my family, I still do have an interest in this other field, plus it's 2 times the money, along with 3 extra years of residency. Switching residencies is quite complicated, although it is possible. I feel like I'm weighing my interest and a significant amount of money versus something that is inherently a good job. I feel like the money of it is distracting, and trying to discern is making it difficult. I was struck by something one of you guys said on the podcast where fulfillment is found in being good at something, which is totally in my reach for family medicine. And most days at work, I feel pretty fulfilled, like I did a good job. But I also struggle to reconcile not pursuing the field that I find more interesting and has higher earning potential. I appreciate you guys. Thanks for the advice.
Let me just say, you're a doctor. Why are you listening to us? There should be other
Ethan,
things.
You're a doctor of the mind. And
that's true. I'm a doctor of the mind, a surgeon of the heart. But I will say, just selfishly, you got a lot more to set aside for Patreon if you go for this other residency.
Yeah, come on.
So, so go for it. Do it.
I think you're in a win-win situation here. Actually.
I was about to say the same thing. It's like there's really no wrong choices here.
Yeah, because you go for the gold. Like, just absolutely, you find it more interesting and it's more money. Heck yeah, do it. I mean, come on.
What's the worst case scenario? It doesn't work out and you're still a family medicine doctor?
That you
like I don't know the intricacies. Like, if you try to switch, is it like if it doesn't work, then they fire you from ever being a doctor ever again?
They take away your medical
They take away your stethoscope and you have to write normally again.
It's like in Harry Potter, they break your stethoscope in half and you have to put it in an umbrella. And that's how you listen to people's hearts.
Yeah. What?
That's what happened to Hagrid. They expelled him from Hogwarts after he was
falsely
accused by Tom Riddle for killing the girl in the second movie, but it was actually the basilisk, and they thought it was the spider, and they expelled Hagrid from Hogwarts. They broke his wand, and Dumbledore let him be the gamekeeper at Hogwarts, and Hagrid put the wand in his umbrella so that he could still kind of do magic using his umbrella. Secret though, don't tell anybody because it's illegal.
If you can believe this, I've only read each Harry Potter book one time.
Really?
Yeah, I've never felt the need to reread them.
Did you watch the movies more than once?
Oh, I've seen the movies tons of times.
Well, this is all in the movies. I'm not.
Yeah. Hagrid. I think so for our good doctor friend, go for it. I mean, why not? What are you afraid of? If this is like, I think we did say, like, if you're good at something, you can be fulfilled. But I also think that if, like, having desire is good, like, you want to do this other thing. Absolutely. You're all tied up about the money of it all. And you're like, is it good or bad to want more money? It's not a bad thing to, like, if you want to do other things, money is a tool, money is a resource. So if you have desires that involve, having more money, like, oh, I would love to one day buy a 1997 Land Cruiser and, like, fix it up and blah, 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 blah. Oh, and it'd be so cool. And then because I'm a doctor and I don't need the money, I would give Ethan the Land Cruiser that I fixed up with all this extra money. And that's going to be my interest. That's fine. It's not, as long as you're not, like, trying to get more money for money's sake. Yeah. Because you're trying to, like, fulfill some need that you have deep inside that more money you think will solve. It's okay to try and earn more. There's nothing wrong with trying to earn more money. Like, I think we just got to get that out there. So I think that's okay. Stop worrying about that. And if this other thing, you think you're going to like it more, I don't understand the question. Hey guys, I have this opportunity to, right now I'm okay. I'm doing okay, but there's this thing I really want to do that I would really love to do. And it would really help out my family and, help me engage in all the other things that I really want to do in life. What do you want us to say? Don't do it?
It would be different if you were like, yeah, someone offered me this other thing that pays twice as much. I don't really like it, and I love family medicine.
That's a totally different question.
Totally different game. Or you're like, I'm indifferent, and I like family medicine. It's like, well, okay, stick with this because you don't, it's hard to go back and forth. All right, yeah.
While I've got you, there's a weird thing in my shoulder, like for the last couple of days, that I feel like I can't, like, I kind of lift it and it hurts in the back. So I don't know if you'd be able to, could you just take a look? Could you just listen to it? Maybe like it pops kind of. So could you just take a look? Also, my jaw pops when I open my mouth. So I don't know if you deal with that either.
One of our really good family friends is like a super pediatrician, and we get questions.
Tons
all the
of
time.
kids.
We give her questions all the time.
Yeah,
We're just like, help, you know. But it's nice. It's nice to have a pediatrician friend because she can prescribe you stuff.
Oh.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Like Phoebe was having Phoebe.
Hey, Barbara. How about some of that Valium? Give me some of that Valium.
Both times we've had kids during the first couple of months, Phoebe has had like inability to keep food and water down. And we had to call the ambulance both times in Pittsburgh and here. And it was funny because it was a serious thing in Pittsburgh. Like we had to go to the emergency room. It was very scary. And they like prescribed us this thing. And it was like this anti-nausea medication that helped her keep food down for like a couple of weeks. That's all she needed. So the second time I was like on the phone with the doctor and I was like, hey, so last time this happened, this is what we did and it worked. Can you please get us this? And he said, well, first you have to come and you have to register to be a patient and all this stuff. And I was like, this is insane. This is ridiculous. You had to like register to be a patient and then he had to check you up and then he had to analyze you. And I'm like, dude, she needs food now. It's a Saturday. Like, what are we going to do? And then my friend was like, next time just call me. And I was like, nice. This is good to know.
The doctor system is messed up. If you're a doctor, you should be able just to like make and give away medicine at any time.
It should be like being a priest.
I don't think medicine should be trademarked. Can I just I feel like it's weird to say, oh, we made this. It helps people. No one is allowed to use it but us. That's crazy. I think pharmaceutical companies should be bombed, but just the bad parts of them. And I mean like kind of a technological bombing, not like a real physical bomb, like a bomb of money that makes it go away. I think part of being a doctor, you should learn how to make every type of medicine in like a mortar and pestle.
Mortar and pestle. Yeah.
Yeah.
I do think that the people who make our medicine should be motivated by altruism only. I think that it would be helpful if the people that cared for our bodies were motivated by altruism only and not money. But
I think it's weird that we've divorced the practice of medicine from the creation of medicine.
Interesting. Yes.
Yes. You should be able to find leaves in the forest and chew them up and spit them out and put them on a wound to make it better.
The doctor pharmaceutical company world is insane, by the way. My friend who works, maybe I told this story on the podcast before, stop me. But my friend who sells magazine ads just like I do, called a doctor's office to sponsor the magazine, and there was like a miscommunication and they thought that he was from a pharmaceutical sales company. And so they said, hey, like if you want to pitch to the staff, that our policy is you have to buy us lunch that day. And he was like, okay, that's fine. And they were like, we want Cooper's Hawk. We want lunch from Cooper's Hawk Winery. And he was like, oh, dang. Okay. Well, sure. And so he was like ready to do it. And they called back and they're like, hey, I heard you're from the church. Never mind. You can just get Jersey Mike's. It's really funny. But I was like, that's the doctor's office expects the pharmaceutical sales rep to come in, wine and dine him, and then sell him a bunch of Xanax.
If someone brought me Jersey Mike's, I would feel wined and dined. I love agree. Jersey Mike's. Yeah.
I agree. I would be fine with that. Cooper's Hawk was nice.
I believe it. That's it for the podcast. What?
The only time I've had Cooper's Hawk was with you.
We've never been to Cooper's Hawk together. Facts. Did we? In Chicago?
Yeah. Yeah,
Chicago. Okay. Yeah, you're right. Never mind. That was nice.
We didn't pay for
enjoyable.
It. We didn't pay for it.
No.
We did pay for Fogo de Chao that one time.
We put on the business card.
I think we finally paid that meal off.
We put it on the Amex. Thank you to Verso Jobs for sponsoring this episode of the podcast. We're going to do the Unhinged Comment of the Week. Patrick, you're going to read it. This is on our most recent YouTube video. Comment on YouTube to be the Unhinged Comment of the Week. The more unhinged, the more likely it is that you get to be notified on this podcast.
Glad I held off on that crunch tattoo. Probably too soon to get the bold B, though. Now you can do it right now.
Get the B. We're sticking with the B. We're going to be Bropostles for years. This is eight more years of this.
We're going to be Bropostles until it gets cringe, and then we're going to keep doing it, and then we're going to come out the other side, and it's going to be funny again.
As is true with everything that we've done. If you like this podcast, go to patreon.com/Bropostles. Support at $10 a month. You get the bonus podcast. $5 a month just for this week only. You get the movie podcast on warfare. It's the greatest website on earth. There's going to be even more perks for being a member at $10 a month, all coming very soon. We want as many people in the community enjoying the bonus shows as possible. Patrick's going to launch his bonus show eventually, but he's busy right now, but he'll get there. But I'm doing the movie podcast, and that's what you need to know. So $10 a month, patreon.com/Bropostles. Thanks for coming to the show, guys. Glad you were here.
Good to see you. I have nothing else. Thanks for make sure to like and subscribe.
Like and subscribe. Talk to you later.
Bye.
Bye.